French authorities say the death toll from Friday's terror attacks has risen to at least 129, with more than 350 injured, some very seriously. John Lawrenson reports now from a city both traumatised and in mourning, where he's been gauging reaction to the attacks within Paris's Muslim community.
I'm on the train on the way out to Le Bourget. It's just north of Paris, very close to the Stade de France, the French national football stadium, where 3 suicide bombers blew themselves up on Friday night. I've come out here to meet Marouk Arif, who's a young Muslim, one of the 5 million or so Muslims in France, to find out what she thinks of the attacks of Friday night.
Le Bourget.
That's my mum.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, pleased to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I felt terrible. I think everyone in this country, as a French citizen, I was completely shocked. Like everyone, we wanted to help, we wanted to do something, but obviously we were just sitting and helplessly like this.
Where does it leave you, do you think, as Muslims living in France?
I think it's going to change things for all the Muslims living in France. Me, because I'm visibly Muslim, because I'm a woman who's a veiled woman. I think Islamophobia is going to be on the rise, and it's been happening.
But Muslims voice that fear, after every terrorist outrage, and very often, in fact, every time it seems we've been quite pleasantly surprised, really, in France. There hasn't been that big backlash.
Yes, you're right, because after Charlie Hebdo, we thought that it was going to be the 9/11 of France, it was going to be everywhere Islamophobia, but it didn't happen. And surprisingly, what we saw was an immense solidarity from the French people, which was so overwhelming. But then we also saw some tragic figures where we saw that Islamophobia was on the rise and it was growing in France, so in parts of France obviously, but it's still tragic. But on the whole, the French society was really tolerant and really they were showing a lot of solidarity, which was very comforting for us.
Do you think that French Muslims could do more when it comes to winning the war of ideas with ISIL?
I think they do a lot. After Charlie Hebdo, what we've seen from the French Muslim was also quite unbelievable. They've been very much showing their solidarity. They've been saying that, we stand with them, although they weren't really happy with Charlie Hebdo's line of the kind of journalism that Charlie Hebdo.
That wasn't always what we heard, was there? I mean, there was a lot of interruptions for the minute of silence in schools to honour the dead people.
Yeah, well, this is sheer ignorance. It's ignorance that we have to fight together by standing united and by standing as a country. We're all together in this.
But for all her humble origins in this poor and pretty much immigrant-only suburb, how representative is casually multilingual Marouk Arif doing her second year of studies for her master's degree in social sciences? Not, I say to myself, as much as this woman standing next to me in the crowded bus on the way back to the station with her sleeping baby in a pushchair and her black djellaba robe. But Sabrina, as her name turns out to be, who was born in Algeria, agrees with Marouk when it comes to ISIL, violence and the Holy Quran.
Moi j'ai trop peur, franchement, aujourd'hui je suis sortie et je suis obligée, sinon je sors pas.
I'm really frightened. If I didn't absolutely have to go out today, I would have stayed at home. I can't even bring myself to watch it on television, it's so distressing. But these people aren't Muslims. It's nothing to do with Islam. Islam is supposed to be a religion of peace. You're not allowed to do what they did in Islam.
But as Sabrina told me, of course, the Friday the 13th attack is going to blacken the name of Islam in many people's eyes. And Ziad Majed, a professor of political science at the American University in Paris, says he is worried about how Friday's killings will change the political climate.
So far, most French politicians try to avoid appearing as if they want to benefit from what happens, knowing that regional elections are taking place next month. But if we will know the profile of those who committed the crimes, it will depend from where they are originally, if they are immigrants, if they are first generation, second generation, maybe they're just French, maybe they're not French. So when we will know about that, I think we will hear more and more some voices calling to review lots of policies towards refugees, towards internal integration, towards French foreign policy. So it might become a political fight in France, and I'm afraid that some extreme right-wing groups would benefit from it because it will feed into their rhetoric.
Unfortunately for those who hope that what happened here will not change the way this country deals with Muslims in general and Muslim migrants in particular, the police say they found the Syrian passport of a man who arrived as a refugee in Greece a month ago in one of the spots by the Stade de France where a suicide bomber blew himself up. Refugees in France can now expect to come under greater scrutiny, France's Muslim nationals as well, even if many, like Marouk Arif, believe Islam encourages them to love their country.
As a French Muslim, I've grown up here. There's plenty of opportunities. The fact that I made it shows that if you have a good determination and a good view and a positive view about your country, because this is what Islam teaches us. I said that many times, that the Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, said that loyalty to your country is part of the faith. So you have to show a certain loyalty towards your country and you have to integrate yourself. It is completely possible to be Muslim, to feel patriotic the way I feel. I'm a French Muslim and I proudly say that, and I do not think that those two notions clash.
Marouk Arif ending that report from John Lawrenson in Paris. And